What's up everyone, this is Cloud Chief, and in today's video I'm going over a beginner's guide that's going over macro building and setting up macros. Just like in my command and menu video, this video is more focused towards beginners and to kind of show them the ropes with macros. But again, if you're a veteran, you may want to stick around because you might learn some things that you didn't know already, but you're likely to know most of this if you are already a veteran of Final Fantasy XI. Also, this macro guide is basically going to be just the basics. I'm not going to really go into advanced stuff that's more for the job. I'm going to have separate videos that are going to go into that more for each job. So this is just kind of giving you the quick rundown so you know what to do and you would know how to go about building macros, knowing your playstyle and how you want to build it. Because I'm going to go over more, okay, you do this and this is the results you'll get with the macros. So that way you're equipped to build them the way that you want, that's going to be best on your playstyle. Because I don't think you should just take my macros and then necessarily start using my macros just as they are, because they might not fit for you. You know, the great thing about this game is you can kind of customize it the way you want, and everyone's a little bit different. So just, you know, try and get the basics and figure out what's going to work best for you, and then do what's best for you. Don't just copy me because, oh, that's what Cloud Chief does. You know, try and learn from it and then expand it on your own. I think you're going to get better results that way going forward. So let's jump right into macros. So if you watch my other videos, you should have a decent idea about the different commands that are available. Those are typically best to actually go ahead and make macros out of. So let's go over first, you know, the gear sets. So that way you know how to most easily change your gear, and then we'll get into doing like JAs with that type of stuff. So if we go to macros, whoops. If you go to macros, so then there's edit macros. This is where you are actually going to type up and make your macros. You actually have 20 books, and each book has 10 pages. So you have 10 pages, and each page has 20 macros on it. 10 on the control line and 10 on the alt line. So like, since I'm on Paladin, we'll just stick to Paladin. So if I go under Paladin, so all of these are under control. So if I hold control, each of these will pop up, or if I hold Alt, the second row will pop up. And then, so you basically have access to 20 macros at any given time per line. Let me go back out. So like this is my macro set line 2, and you can tell by looking all the way at the top, it literally says macro set PLD for Paladin, because that's what I named it. You can name it whatever you want. And then it's the second set. Like if I hold this and push up, I'm now on the first set. I can still hold I'm on controller, so I actually hold down the R and L, but it's the same as if you would have hold control on your keyboard and then like hit up. You can see like I'm on set 8, and so you can scroll through the sets for that particular macro group that you selected. So I can't like go, if I go back to my macro sets, like I can't go to my thief macro set without coming all the way into this menu. There's no way to like switch through it how I was like able to switch through the sets there. So the good thing about this is, so that way you can have multiple different sets. I could say have a tank set since I'm on Paladin, and then have a set for when I'm kiting. And in theory, like I don't have it set up this way, but again, we're just talking examples. I could have it say my group 1 is my tank set and group 2 is my kite set. So if I know I want to stand here and just tank, I can be in this set. And then as soon as I want to start kiting, I can just push down, go over, click move. Now I'm in my movement set, and I could say start kiting the mob around. And you can do this for anything and everything like you want to do. You could make a tank set for, say, a DD job, along with having a TP set. And if you want to have different sets set up, you can just toggle through it and switch to it. That's why I wanted to focus on you should build, you know, your macros will work best for you and not just copy and paste, because I don't know what you want to do and what's going to work best for you and give you the best advantages. So let's go back in under here. So again, so this is where all your macro sets are. So this is where your equipment sets go to in the second menu. So edit equipment sets. So you get 100 of these, and this is one thing I wish SE would give us more, because I don't think 100 sets is enough when we have 22 jobs. But that's for another thing. So basically, if I go into the set, like, so this is my War TP set. This is the gear that I use when I'm TPing on War. And I think I actually have multiple sets of that. Yeah, because like I have a worn-in dual-wield one, because this has the Jinsen. It has different gear sets because of different store TP and how much I'm getting TP. So basically, you go in here, and this is where you can equip sets. This is where you make the set up to have whatever gear you want. So let's actually go to Paladin and make it better. Well, not better, but since I'm on Paladin. So like, here's my magic attack set. So we can see, this is all my magic attack gear. I'm currently not in it. This is set 44. You can tell that by looking all the way in the middle at the top. It says equip set, and then hashtag 44. So it's number 44. So if I type in equip set 44 and hit enter, that is going to change me into that set. You can see I'm now in this magic attack set right here. So if I click move here, that's gonna just again take me back to my equipment set that's set for move. So for the most part, like if you want to change to different gears, you can have, or different gear, you can have different sets. Like here's my DD set if I'm trying to actually do melee damage on Paladin, which does happen sometimes, as opposed to my tank set, which is all focused on defense. So I could like click that, and you can see it's just equip set 43 to switch. This is my move set, equip 45. So I have these macros set up so that way I change to whatever set. Then I have my Savage Blade macro here. So that it changes to my equip set to 43. And then it immediately afterwards does the weapon skill Savage Blade. The caret T caret basically just means whatever I am targeted on is what it's going to try and Savage Blade on. So if I like wanted to Savage Blade, say the the Porter Moogle over here, like if I click it, you can only use it in combat. I'm not engaged. It's not going to allow me to do it anyway. It would also say even if I could engage, it would be like you can't attack this target anyway. Just saying. But like, so now that so if I type like say T, and this is going to go to party, just as an example. See, it says the Porter Moogle. So just by being in combat and having that focused on, that means that's going to be the target that I have when it's the caret T caret. We'll get into a little bit more about that in a moment, because basically it's when you're specifying a target, you want it within carets, so that way it knows. And if you don't know what I mean by carets, it's basically greater than, less than, and you just basically type in whether it's like T or ST for subtarget. I could do me, which means it's going to target me. You could do, say, P2, which would mean that it's always the second player in your party, or P3. Again, just giving you guys ideas for things that you can do for building your macro sets. So let's go back and let's look at some of my other... So, like, for Provoke and Flash and Sentinel, when I'm on Paladin, when I want those things going off, I want to be in my immunity set. So that way I'm generating as much hate when I'm popping a JA as possible on the mob. So if we go and look on how I have this built. So I have it first equip set 42, which is my immunity set, which means I'm in like full immunity. It's over 100 immunity. That's going to give a large spike of hate to help keep the monster's attention at me. Then it does Provoke. So it immediately equips my immunity set. Then immediately after it equips the set, it goes to the next line where it's going to go do Provoke to whatever mob I have targeted. And then I have the wait command there. The wait command is going to make it wait 1 second. Then it's going to go back and then it's going to equip set 41, which is my tank set. So basically it's going to switch to my immunity set, use Provoke on the mob, and then after a second, after Provoke's been used, it's going to then switch to my tank set. Again, it makes me the most, tanky, and it automatically is switching me from my amenity set back to my tank set, which is what I want. I want to get out of that amenity set as fast as possible and back in the tank set, because if I have 10 mobs hitting me, I don't really want them hitting me for a long period of time in my amenity set, because that's not really damage-taking gear, and I'm going to get my butt kicked. Plus, I'm going to have lower HP when I'm popping that JA, because my HP does drop when that happens. And that's pretty much how I have all my hate JA sets set up here, just as an giving an idea, so that way I'm immediately getting as much hate as possible when my JA is going off and then switching back. Another thing that you could do, if you didn't want to make a whole set out of it, or even further, say I have a set, but there's one specific piece that say augments Sentinel. I know there's a relic piece that augments Sentinel that I at least haven't taken the time to upgrade yet. But let's say I wanted to put on this set, so have the amenity set, but I wanted to augment Sentinel while I'm at it. What I could do is do something like this. So I could move this line down, copy this, move this line down, delete this line, and so it's equip set 42. I think it's either a leg or a foot piece. I'm gonna say it's a leg piece. Again, this is all hypothetical. You don't have to do it this way, but so I could do equip. So we're going to do equip. I like having it auto-translated. That way you know it's right, but you don't have to. So I'm going to equip and then leg. So I'm equipping a single piece, and then it's going to be a leg piece. So then here I would type a leg piece. Let's actually find a leg piece so we can actually see it happen and make sure it works. Let's do Flamma, because I don't have anything. So it's Flamma Durs +2. So again, I like auto-translate to make sure it's right. So then, tab, so Flamma Durs +2. And I'm gonna move this down, because if you have any gaps or spaces, then it will not go. It needs to have some type of line to do something before it to go to the next line. So it's not actually going to equip set 41. It's going to equip my hate set. Then it's going to equip Flamma legs after it has equipped my amenity hate set. Then it's going to do Sentinel. Then it's going to do nothing. And the macro is going to end because there's nothing after that. So let's make sure that that works correctly. So that's weird. Oh, that's because I didn't have a weight. I needed a weight in there, I think. The reason is because it's equipping the set, and then it immediately tries to do this while it's equipping the set, and it can't do them both at the same time. So this is why you also want to test your macros like I'm doing right now. So we'll do a weight one. Typically I find it better to either do equip all whatever sets you want, but the problem is if you do each piece, you only have maximum 6 lines. So just to be aware of. So if we do it now, Sentinel's not going to go off. Is it legs? Let's see if it's legs. Might be plural there. Yeah, so that's what it was. It was because I had legs wrong. So let's actually see if I take the weight out, if that actually would work. So here, let's equip set 41. Okay, I know I'm in the set because like my HP is really low. We can double check. So now if I go hit Sentinel again, so I think that worked. Yep. You can see I'm in my amenity set, and it changed the leg. So we actually didn't need the weight one there. It's just because I had leg instead of legs. So that was the error with that, why it wasn't working. But you can see, so that works perfectly well. To hit that, and it would then, you know, change the gear appropriately. So I could have my full amenity set, except for obviously minus legs, but then I'm getting the legs that's going to augment Sentinel, if I had that piece, as an example. And you definitely should do that where you can, but that's the best way how you can optimize your macro lines. So that's how to basically do JAs. And again, we can do the same thing with like weapon skills. Like right here, I equip set 43 and then do the weapon skill. And that's why it has / weapon skill. And then quotes, Savage Blade. You need quotes around anything that has a space in it. If there's, I don't know, is there a sword weapon skill? Is this one word? No, they're all 2 words. Oh no, like atonement. Like atonement or replicast, I wouldn't need quotes around it because there's no space. You could just type out atonement as an example. Same thing for JAs or anything. If it's 1 word, you don't need quotes. If it's multiple words, you need quotes around it. So that way the game, you know, knows that it's all one thing as that command and the space isn't throwing it off. So that's the gist on how to like do JAs and weapon skills. But there's something else that's good, and that would be for sub-targets. Perfect example. So like for curing, I have on Paladin. So if I hit the macro, if we look, see, so it's /MA, which means magic, which you want to do for any magic spell, space, and then I have Cure 4, and any tiered spells you gotta use eyes like Roman numerals for it. It doesn't have to be capitalized though, it can be lowercase. But then ST, so that means sub-target. So what happens here, if it was just T, it would just be whoever I've targeted, I would immediately start curing. However, if I hit the cure macro, it's going to go into a sub-target menu. So now I can toggle. Alright, through the power of editing, we have gotten out here. So again, so if I go and hit cure, so now I'm on sub-target. You can see I can target the desert spider, because I can basically target anything that's targetable, and I really like using this. Typically I'll hit that, and then I'm hitting like down on my keyboard or controller to go to whoever in the party needs the cure. So like perfect example, targeting this, and I will actually be, yeah, like I'm casting cure. I think it says it has no effect, but still. As you can see, so ST meaning sub-target allows you to do the command, and then it pulls up to change it. Be aware, though, I don't like doing things that have, you know, sub-target where I can actually pick the target of the spell and then have gear changes happen afterwards. If you need something like quick gear changes, like what I was doing with my Paladin to quickly change gear sets, and having like, you know, amenity set and all that stuff, I wouldn't do that with a sub-target where it's sitting there waiting for me to go target something and then execute to finish going through the macro command. That's going to get messy, and I don't think that's a good way of doing things, just for a heads up. But since we're on Scholar, let's go ahead and see, and let's write up a macro for this, because I know Scholar, change names. Let's on the fly. Let's make a skill chain macro. So what is this? I don't even know. Oh, is this stuff I built for Ninja? Let's go down here. So, for anyone who's not aware, Scholar actually got a JA with Dark Arts that allows you to... Basically, what'll happen is you'll use a JA, and it basically allows your next magic spell to actually have elemental properties like weapon skills. So you can actually skill chain with weapon skills and vice versa, and you can actually self-skill chain, which is one of the strongest things about Scholar at this point. So let's go ahead, and I think Distortion is the... macro we're gonna make. So this is a very long and complicated macro. So what I like to do for this, we're gonna make a party chat macro, so that way, like, the black mages and people who are gonna be magic bursting are being cued to what's happening, so they're not just like, oh, he's like skill chaining and like miss it. So I like to make it easier for my party so they're aware of what's going on. So I'm gonna make party chat letting them know, so I'm gonna be doing, so I'm opening skill chain. So then after that we need to use the JA, which is its imminence. And so I'm going to use a JA with imminence, and I want to use it on me. So then after that we need to wait 1 second. So then we're going to MA, because magic, and we're going to do Blizzard. And we're going to do Blizzard on whatever I've targeted. And then we need to wait 4, because it's a skill chain and we need some time. And then gonna use the second imminence. Same thing. Me. Wait 1. And then I let the party know that I am closing the skill chain. So again, they're kept in the loop. They know what's going on. And then we cast water to close the skill chain. So that should be Distortion. Let's actually find something that should hopefully live through my 2 weak tier 1 nukes. We'll get the point across. Alright guys, so I found a mob. This thing is easy prey. Hopefully it won't die from 2 quick nukes. So let's try out my macro. Let's take a look at it again real quick, so you guys can see everything that happened. So again, I just did a party, opening skill chain, waited a minute. Or no, sorry. Just announcing that I'm opening the skill chain. Doing the JA that allows me to do it. Casting the first spell, using the JA a second time, informing the party that the skill chain is about to close, and then the second spell that will allow the skill chain to happen. You do need Dark Narcs up or you won't get Eminence for the spell. So let's go ahead and give it a try. And that worked. It was not Distortion, it was Fragmentation for whatever reason that was. I thought Ice and Water was Distortion, but it makes Fragmentation for whatever reason. I don't know. I'll have to go and look and figure that out. You can see the spell worked great. That's the gist of using macros for basically, you know, for your spells and JAs and stuff like that. But there's even more functionality that you can do it. And I definitely think you should get creative with this type of stuff. But like, perfect example, say you want to pop an NM and it's a specific item. Granted, this will only work if it's one item. If you need to trade multiple items to a question mark to pop an NM, this won't work. It'll only work for one item. However, you can do it through a macro to make it really easy and pretty much guarantee that you're going to, you know, get the pop and guarantee you pop it. This is great if you're on like a populated server with, you know, with a lot of people that's being competitive with popping an NM. I've actually even been accused of using third-party programs because of how effective and efficient this is, because they don't even get a chance to see the question mark and I'm already popping the NM just from using this macro. And no, there's no third-party program involved. So if we go back here, so perfect thing to do is, so I'm just going to say pop because this is used to pop. So then I'm going to say target NPC. I want to make sure I do that because that way it will target the question mark, especially if I make sure I'm standing right on top where the question mark spawns before it's there. By having this as the first line command, it'll automatically target that question mark. Even if it's targeting something else that's far away, as soon as that question mark pops, it's closer, it'll force target that question mark, which is great. So target NPC, then I'm going to go ahead and then do item, space, and then you're going to go ahead and then put in whatever the item is that you're going to pop. So if, like, say this was a busy NM, like oversized sock, which is an Abyssia NM for Giga, and then /T because we want to trade it to whatever we're targeting. So then by hitting this macro, it's not going to work because I don't have the item, but it's like, you can see it targeted them. So if like this person was the question mark, all I do is hit the macro, bam. So I don't have the item, so it's not going to work, but it would. That's why a command error occurred, because I don't have the item, plus trading him the item isn't going to work. But it's also great if you're turning in like a bunch of items for quests to get a bunch of fame, like the cabbage in Selbina to get like Bastok and Juno fame. You can write a macro so that way you can just keep clicking the macro and he'll keep trading the item in. That way you don't have to keep going to trade and go to the item and stuff. So these are things you can do to help make you more efficient when you're trying to get stuff done. So that's something else that's good for macros, for writing. So I love using that, like, for popping. Like I said, I've been accused multiple times of using third-party programs because the other person never even sees the question mark. I just, like, before it even pops, if I'm just, like, slamming the macro, you know, like, as soon as the question mark pops, bam, it'll pop it. And it's like, I'm not using third-party programs, I just know how to use the system to my advantage. So, perfect thing for there. The only thing that's really left to talk to would be, like, if you're trying to either skill up, or a perfect example, like you're trying to take pictures. There's something called soul trappers that you use to take pictures of mobs, and you get Zenny for that. So we'll just say like it's a picture. I actually have the macro written down here, so I'll make sure it's right. So item, because it is an item. The item is actually called, when we want quotes, it's a soul trapper 2000. And then we would do /T like that, then /wait 35, because there's like a 30-second cooldown, plus you have the usage time of the item. That's why I have it 35. And basically could go like this, and just copy, copy, copy. Delete that because we don't need a wait on the last one. And so now if I had the soul trapper equipped, had the mob ready so I could start taking pictures, I could literally click this, take a picture, and now walk away, and I don't need to come back and do anything for about a minute and a half. Because it's going to take the first picture, wait 35 seconds, take the second picture, wait 35 seconds, take the third picture, wait 35 seconds, take the fourth picture. So in all that time, I don't even need to be there. The macro is just going to run through and do it itself. We should get a second soul trapper error in probably about 10 seconds from what I've been talking. Because it should go through and try and do the next one. And if I had that equipped. Whoops. Me typing probably canceled that. Oh, no, there it goes anyway. I also do this for, like, range attacks. So, like, if I was trying to skill up range attacks, you can make a macro that's just like range attack, wait 6, depending on whatever the delay is, and then just do range attack again. And that way you don't have to actually sit there and pay that close of attention, and your character can just keep doing range attacks over and over and over, and you only have to hit the macro, once every 30 seconds. You could, have it on in the background while, watching something on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. So these are just some of the ways that you can use macros to your advantage, and you should write them to your, what's going to be best for you. And like I tried saying before, do what's going to be best for you. Like, sit down and figure out, what do I want to do? I want to do this. And then write the macros around that. You should definitely use this video in conjunction with the command video to see what all kinds of command things you can do. Oh, one last thing that I did just remember, and this is more just for fun if you want it to just be creative. This is going to get in more with like emotes. So I'll call this one, we'll do this kitty claws. Can't even go all that, whatever. We'll do cat claws, whatever. So let's see, we want to do, what is it? Panic motion, which means the character is going to do the panic emotion, but they're just going to do the animation. You're not actually going to see the emote pop up on the screen. But then they're going to be like, so emotes. So we'll do me, so it'll say, or no, it's going to say cauliflower anyway. So cauliflower. So like, if we go up to this, still trying to do the thing. So I'm gonna go claw this guy's face off. So go up. So, except for, didn't really do it to his face, did it more to his stomach. But you see what I like. So it's not doing the panic thing, it's doing the panic motion, which is why like it has like your claws there. But then I created my own emote that says, you know, claws his face off, even though I should be like just clawing his stomach or whatever. But like, perfect example, I was able to take, you know, the panic emotion and then create my own emote off of it, and I now have like my own, you know, unique emote that no one else really has. And so this is another example of how you can use different commands and different things in here and get creative with what your character can do. So yeah, like, definitely go in and start messing around with it. Again, use this video in conjunction with the commands video, because that kind of goes over and shows you the full command list. Just real quick, if you didn't know, just typing / will literally tell you every single command list that is in the game. So you can do all kinds of different stuff to make macros with all these different commands, and you can get, you know, like I said, quite unique and do some pretty cool things. So if anyone has any like macro commands or something that feels that I somehow missed in this general thing, feel free to leave a comment on. Like I said, I'm going to go into more extensive macro commands, what I kind of recommend for each job, but that's going to be on a job specific thing. This was just macros overall in a general sense. If you guys feel that there was something that was more general in macros that I missed, feel free to leave a comment and I'm happy to go in. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a question and I will do my best to try and answer it. But these are macros. You definitely want to use them. You definitely want to utilize them. You can definitely go through the game without ever doing macros, but you're making things so much harder on yourself. It's definitely worth the time, energy, and effort to sit down and write up some macros, so that way it makes your life a little bit easier when you're going through Vana'diel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value out of it. And as always, may you have success in all you do.